Laura Farthing didn't always know she wanted to be an engineer. But when a man in rural Kenya told her he'd only install a water spigot for an orphanage if she agreed to marry him, she realized she could do his job.
And in that moment, I was like, wait, you're an engineer? Oh, they were like super smart. I think I could be an engineer.
Farthing volunteered at an orphanage between Kenya and Nairobi after graduating from the University of Oregon with a BS in environmental studies. She described her time in Africa while leading a driving tour of eWeb's water storage facilities. She said the women in the village spent hours each day walking miles to get water for their families because there wasn't nearby access to safe drinking water.
They walk 5-10 miles a day. And so you don't have time to go to college. You don't have time to go and have a job as an engineer. So from that standpoint, I'm quite passionate about getting water to people.
She refused to marry that Kenyan water engineer. Instead, she returned to Oregon and got her master's degree in civil engineering at Oregon State University.
Well, I know it changed my life forever. I mean, it's how I got into engineering, so in the first place.
Farthing said access to safe drinking water can bring women out of poverty, but in many parts of the world, that's not a reality. Here in the U.S., it's easy to take accessible drinking water for granted.
I think it's one of the more amazing things we have in this country that, for the most part, you can go anywhere, drink the water, and it's safe.
eWeb customers are uniquely fortunate to get our drinking water from the pristine Mackenzie River. It's treated at Hayden Bridge Filtration Plant and then piped to several reservoirs in Eugene. The city's reservoirs are aging and no longer meet seismic or health standards. Farthing has been working for eWeb for the past 10 years. She's the lead engineer on eWeb's water storage construction project near East 40th and Patterson Street.
These tanks, they'll have the ability to provide water to all of eWeb's about 180,000 customers.
Farthing is in charge of the construction of two 7.5 million gallon tanks on this 10-acre property. The new tanks will provide seismically resilient drinking water storage for Eugene and make it possible to replace aging infrastructure in other areas of the community.
Their lifespan, it's replacing the College Hill Reservoir, which has been in place since 1939. So these are really big legacy projects that could potentially be here for 100 years.
The state has ordered eWeb to replace College Hill Reservoir due to its seismic issues. Knowing replacement storage would eventually be needed, eWeb purchased the 10-acre property near East 40th in the 1950s, specifically for this use. Approximately 2.5 acres will be used for water storage, and the remainder of the property will remain open to the public. Habitat will be restored or enhanced to support a diverse community of native plants and animals. Farthing said her staff consulted with tree experts in planning the project.
We worked with a team of ecologists and biologists and our arborist, and we really paid attention to where we sited the tanks.
The oak savanna habitat has been preserved, and the plan is to improve the area for oak health.
Try to fit and blend in with the the natural environment, as well as creating large infrastructure that will support the health of the community for the long term. So, which has been actually really fun to show that you can build really large infrastructure next to native oak savanna and still protect it and make it all work together.
Farthing's supervisor, Wally McCullough, has worked with her at eWeb and previously at a consulting firm. He says she's risen to the many challenges of this project.
I mean, she's done a great job, and she deserves a lot of recognition for it.
McCullough said Farthing has faced challenges being a woman in a male-dominated field. He remembers a time she was meeting with someone about the water storage project when they interrupted her and said they wanted to talk to the person in charge.
I want to talk to the engineer. I want to talk to him. And he pointed to me because I was the white male.
Does Laura Farthing still think about those women in Africa walking 10 miles a day to get water? Yes. She'd like to go back someday to help build water infrastructure, but for now, she's busy with 2 young sons and a major infrastructure project here in Eugene that will serve the community and provide safe, reliable water for generations to come. I'm Rachel McDonald for eWeb.